Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to my channel. My name is Luis Portales. Of course, if you are new around here, then welcome to my channel. But if not, let me tell you that you are in for a treat because we have a beautiful guest, someone that I love, that I admire, that I appreciate so much. And of course, based on the thumbnail, you guys already know that I'm talking about Tita Lavinia, of course. I mean, I'm so excited about the conversation that we're gonna have because we have a lot of tea to spill. We have so much, prepared for you guys. And for those of you who don't know, we were actually live streaming on Tita's channel prior to joining this live stream. So if you guys want to go and check that out afterwards, please do go and show her some love, some support. Tita is so deserving and so hardworking, most importantly. So without further ado, everyone, please give a warm welcome to my guest today, Tita Lavinia.
Hola, hola everyone! Change outfit, same day, within the same window. Hello, Luis. Hello, fans and subscribers and viewers of Luis and my own channel, Tita Lavinia channel. Nag-plug! Thank you for spending this afternoon, morning, evening with us. And yes, we just had a conversation earlier, but that felt so bitin, clip. So we're going to continue now. You're the driver. Hello, Luis. It's nice to see you again.
Lovely to see you always. And oh my God, I have to commend you because you look so beautiful, glowing. I love the outfit. It's like
Thank
magic. In a few minutes, you
I
change.
changed for you. Yes, I prepared everything for you, and my change of makeup is
Oh,
also prepared. It's just that I have my cat on top of the makeup, but I prepared for you.
oh, thank you so much. Everyone in the comments can agree that Tita is looking bonga today.
You, it's a chain necklace.
All right. So, everyone, for those of you who were with us in the live stream with Tita on her channel, you know that we were talking about Miss
Mhm.
Universe Philippines and everything that is going on this year. So much tea, so much substance. So, I'll just get here some of the things that I wanted to cover with you. So,
Mhm.
we were talking about, first of all, the top 30 announcement and everything that has been going on, happening with each one of the candidates, their journeys, things that they can improve or that they are doing well. Because there's also a lot of positive. If I put you on the spot, Tita, like just very quickly, of course, which ones will be like some of the candidates that are standing out the most, in your opinion?
Right now, I mean, ever since this competition started, we just revolved probably around six girls with a few alternates every now and then.
Yeah.
The Holy Trinity, as the pageant fans are calling it. We have, of course, the likes of Steffi, who I know will definitely battle it out only because Steffi has been on reserve for so many years.
Mhm.
She has been groomed for so many years. So now that she is here, I don't think she'll waste time and effort because we have to understand. I think Steffi, if I'm not mistaken, is already 26 years old, 26, 27.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying this is her last. Oops. It's an episode. I'm
This
sorry.
is what everyone. This is live.
I'm not saying that this is gonna be her last. I'm just saying that definitely Steffi will give it her all. Katrina Di Maranan is a seasoned pageant girl as well. Right now, she is the full package because we have to be very strategic this year. We have a shorter time to prepare. So I think a lot of people are not warming up to the fact of like transforming someone, getting into that Cinderella story because time is of the essence. We need to pick someone with just a little bit of buffing and polishing and someone that is ready and good to go for the competition. And then, of course, we have the likes of Laren Bautista, another pageant girl. Um, this is also someone that embodies a Filipina because she's very Filipina looking. A lot of people are really 50-50 with like sending halfies, but yeah, I mean, Laren is someone that we can depend on. We have sent her to several pageants. She even won a minor pageant back in 2015. So this one understands the prep work that is needed of her. And of course, we have the alternatives who could, possibly spoil it for us. We have the likes, of course, of Victoria Vincent, very elegant, super classy. Also needs a little bit of buffing and polishing, but pretty much ready to go. We also have the likes of Maureen, who has been fighting, fair and square, banking on that very Maureen characteristic. She is a little bit on the dry side. I mean, what I mean is dry wit side.
Yes.
Um, she does have that personality that isn't necessarily super bubbly, that isn't going to campaign for like something. Very chill. Maybe this is someone that could be likened. I'm not so sure if you're familiar to Iris Mittenard of France. She won in 2016. She does have the same chill vibe as Maureen. And then yeah, I mean, we have room for the other ladies to come in, like maybe I don't know, maybe even the likes of Ain Bernos, who could like talk her way into the competition. I just feel like this competition isn't going to be so different from last edition. Because
Yes.
last edition you had the heavy favorites, and then you had voila, Rabia Mateo, who aced all of the segments. So I'm
Yes.
keeping my eyes open.
Absolutely. I really like your input, and this is actually why I wanted to have like a two-part kind of like live stream, one
Mm.
you were doing on your channel. And of course, you were kind enough to allow me a lot of time to talk because I stole like the entire thing. Like I was talking from beginning to end.
It's yours. You're the guest. I mean, I feel like I had to really give you a proper introduction to the pageant fans because yeah, the talk on a foreign vlogger talking about contents in the Philippines is huge right now, right after the hoopla with our tattoo artists and some of the entities who have been cashing in. So I feel like this is something that I have to explain why you're here, why am I even endorsing you? Why am I even asking people to like follow you? Because some people are getting a little sore, like, why are you even promoting him? You should be promoting yourself. And I feel comfortable in where I am. I don't have like the super huge following of the other bloggers, but my purpose here is basically just to have a platform because if I say something on Instagram, I have very little space. I have so many things to say. So that's
Yes.
my purpose. So if I could give like a support to someone who knows his thing and who knows it, who understands without being entirely exposed to pageantry, then that is you,
Thank
mi amigo.
Thank you so much, mi amiga. Honestly, it means a lot that the fact that you trusted me, with this because I don't take it lightly. I feel like it's a big responsibility. There's and these are things that we're gonna touch during our conversation today. I want to talk a little bit about uh the international vloggers and that scene that it started to kind of like develop as of right now. I want to hear like from your perspective as a Filipina and as a pageant vlogger yourself, how you feel about those things. We're gonna go back a little bit to the topic of Pinoy baiting that we were talking on your channel as well, because I feel like it's extremely important. But of course, everyone, those are topics that will come later on. Right now, the main topic is Miss Universe Philippines, and I actually have a few questions for you because
Mhm.
obviously you are seasoned in this industry. You've been doing this for a while. You have met a lot of the a lot of the iconic queens. So a few things. So we were talking about on your channel the requirements when it comes to height, right? And the likes of Ain Bernos who made it into this year edition. You gave me a little bit of your explanation behind it, but for the people watching us right now here on my channel, how do you feel about this new, let's say, like inclusion of height? And is it something positive? Is it not? How do we perceive it?
My personal take is that for me, I'm old school. I would rather really have such standards because that's why I always say beauty pageants, they're not for everyone. Because I grew up thinking that when we talk about pageant girls, we talk about girls who are just above and beyond normal or what is considered standard. That's why they're in a beauty pageant because they are, I would say, like, they just have like something that's a little different from like the rest of us. The
Yes.
height, the beauty, the bone structure, the effervescent glow, the way that they would draw people in, communication skills. So that is why it's a beauty pageant because there are standards. That's one of the reasons why, someone would make me bola. You know what bola means? Like someone would like say something really nice to you without really meaning it, or maybe they do mean it a little bit and they say, "Oh, you're so pretty. Did you think about joining beauty pageants when you were younger?" It's like, no, I'm only 5 feet tall because back in the day, when you don't get to reach that height requirement, it's not even a question. I mean, it's pretty understood. Nowadays, it's not that anymore. So we have to follow what Miss Universe has been dictating. Maybe they cannot ask us to allow transgenders. Even if they allowed it in Miss Universe, it's not something that we can talk about in the country only because we don't have the laws in place. But we don't have laws about height. And they opened the height requirement at Miss Universe, allowing Maria Tatil, who is 5'3". Remember, also allowing Sarita Ref of Cambodia, who was also one of the shortest in the competition. So as a pageant admin, as a pageant fan, I understand the direction. This is something that we have to accept, that we have to swallow. The same way we raised our eyebrows why Victoria's Secret hasn't made changes with their models, why they're so exclusive. It's not even relatable anymore. So for pageants to survive, we do have to let go of our old guard. We do have to let go of our old belief system. And then we have to really go with the flow and maybe start to accept that it's going to be more inclusive. There were years that there were candidates who tried their luck who is more on the, plumper side, a little bigger or in built than the other ladies. So yeah, we just really have to be accepting, but we cannot give them a free pass. This is what I'm saying. If the likes of Ayin Bernos or Kisses de Levine gets in fair and square because there are rules in place that allows them to do so, they also have to fight fair and square, and they have to be at par with the preparations and at least the efforts of the pageant girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just my take on it. Right now, I am washing my hands with all the discussion on height, on body type and weight. As long as they can bring class, as long as they can show us they're prepared and they're fighting, I'm cool with it now.
I definitely agree with you, and I see where you're coming from. My I mean the my perception of it, and once again, as a fairly new pageant, let's say like enthusiast or like fan or whatever, um, if I compare with like other pageants, if I look at, for example, something from like 20 years ago, I feel like the role of a Miss Universe per se has evolved with time.
Yes.
And right now, it's a different type of figure, it's a different type of representation that they need. And maybe this is why they're opening the doors for other girls, that before were maybe not eligible for it. Of course, this comes with a lot of controversy. Like some people love it, some people don't agree with it because they say, well, like this is like going to the Olympics, you have to be the best of the best, or you have to be like like a specific body type or a specific height. But I think that this is based on the fact that the needs of the organization itself has changed over time. So height is no longer a requirement. But I do agree with what you said. It's not because you are, let's say, under the high requirements that you make it automatically into the competition. You still have to prove yourself. Just like the example that you gave of Maria Tatil from Australia. The girl, I mean, she was not like the tallest, but she could speak for days. Like that girl could talk. She was so smart, so witty, so beautiful, and she was also very consistent during the pageant. So I think that that's like a good example. It's not just about how tall you are or not, if you make it or not, but when you get there, you have to be able to prove that you have what it takes and you deserve that position.
Right.
Yeah. What about communication skills? Because that's another one. That's another big topic. Um, some of the girls this year have a very strong communication skills, and obviously, with the previous edition of the International Miss Universe, during Q&A, even some of the girls were speaking on their native language. How do you feel about that? Should the girls, have like a good, consistent um, let's say like way of handling English, or do you feel like this is secondary?
Let me give you a little bit of perspective on how things work here in the Philippines. So, we pride ourselves as a country or people who are, just really very flexible when it comes to language. English is something that is easy for us, even if not a lot of us. Oh, here he is again. Even if a lot of us may not have the same standards of speaking and understanding English the same way we were educated, like maybe a decade ago. Now it's a little different.
Mhm.
Now we do have a group of people who rally in speaking in the vernacular or speaking in our own dialects. Now we are rallying for not just a focus on English, but I have to be very honest about this because there was also a conversation in Puerto Rico back then when Madison Darius won Miss Puerto Rico in 2019. She got a lot of flack from the fans because she won the Puerto Rican sash, but then her Spanish wasn't good enough. And a lot of people weighed in and said, she's not going to speak Spanish on the international stage. She's going to speak English. So, with that argument, I am expecting, of course, the ladies to have, you know, communication skills in English that at least are basic. Now, in the Philippines, back in the day, not too long ago, maybe up until 2015,
Mhm.
the pageant trainers and the camps were like saying you don't have to have the best answer at Miss Universe. Just don't make a fool of yourself. Just sound right. It doesn't have to be a long answer. That was the standard before. We just had to deliver something that doesn't really carry as much weight as long as we can deliver them in an answer that sounds really okay with the fans as well as um, the audience and the judges. But our girls have been doing pretty well. Shamsi Sup Sup did really well. Janine Togonan has been doing well. So if you have girls who have been doing well, at least on the communication side, of course, the ones who will follow will try to outdo that performance. So that's why the level of communication skill that is expected from our girls is at this high because if you have the likes of Pia and then Catriona, you cannot go down. Do you
Ex-
get what I mean? There were bars that were set so high that we cannot even if we argue, Tita, you don't have to be super smart, you don't have to have super amazing comm skills, but if the bar was set high by the likes of Catriona, then yeah, it is really a sore subject when you go a little lower in terms of comm skills. But we have to understand, even if you're the best in comm skills in the delivery, this is still a beauty pageant, guys. Meaning to say, before you even get into the part where you have to speak and say something, they will have to judge you physically. So you have to tick the box for the
yeah.
physical side first. So yeah, that's my take on it.
And what about if we switch around that question? So, what about their skills when it comes to Tagalog and knowing the Philippines as a country and the culture and all of that? Because a lot of times the candidates might come from overseas. They might be even like born in other countries and there might be like half Filipino or have like some Filipino blood and that they come and they represent the country. How important do you think it is for the candidate to actually know what the reality is in the Philippines, be able to relate to the people, to then represent them fairly, right? And especially the language, so that there's no like a language barrier, because the candidate might be like very well, like very good speaking English, but when it comes to talking to her own people and relating to everyone. Not everyone in the Philippines speaks English, obviously, so it's important that you have access to all of them. How do you feel about this?
This is actually one of my pet peeves. But because I understand that carrying the Philippine sash has more weight, so I understand that there may be pageant girls who would come to the Philippines and try to snag this sash because it means more to wear the Philippine sash than maybe to wear the sash of the country where they grew up in. So this is a pet peeve of mine, especially when I feel like they're not putting in the effort, that they're just there because they want to represent the Philippines. So I understand that the language maybe is a little difficult to master, but I'm very observant. At Titas of Pageantry, we're very observant. We look at your captions. We look at how you use certain words. I mean, I would be happy if they would start with the words such as charot or kebs. I mean, I want these ladies to make an effort. Like for example, Victoria Vincent. Okay, so Victoria Vincent, we all know that she grew up in New Zealand, and when you talk to her, there definitely is difficulty in the language and trying to communicate in Filipino. So when she says something like she's trying to learn the language, we have to take her word for it that she's trying. There is more of a focus on Victoria because she's actually representing Cavite. Luis, Cavite is a historical town in the Philippines. This was where they declared Philippine independence. So the the history that is told in Cavite is something that Victoria really has to highlight. And for me, this is enough um, for her to say that I'm getting in touch with my Filipino roots. Catriona Gray grew up in Australia. She still has difficulty speaking the language, but you can see that, injected in some of her captions. So we want effort. Catriona may not get to speak the language. I wish she would. I honestly wish she would.
Yeah.
It's just that at least Catriona gave us something different, the love of Philippine textiles, the love of learning about techniques from the indigenous communities and the tribes that we never really got to know of. So, what I'm just saying is if you're lacking in something Filipino, maybe communication skills, try to make up for it and just, try to display whatever Filipino connections you have, just so we know you're not foreign to us. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I agree with you. It's important that if you're going to represent the entire country, that at least people are able to relate to you, because it's a
Mm.
big responsibility, and at the end of the day, you're representing like a lot of people and a lot of history and a lot of queens that were trying to get that position. If you're given the chance to represent the country, it's not just about the entire population of the Philippines, but it's also about all of the other candidates that were fighting for that same chance that was given to you. So
Mhm.
very good. So everyone, just a quick pause. I want to make this like an interactive live stream. So if you guys have any questions that you want to submit, feel free. I will be looking at them from time to time, and we can address them. In the meantime, Tita, I wanted to ask you. So obviously, we now have the top 30 that has been officially announced, and on your channel, on your live stream, we were going through some of the names and giving some of the ideas and quick feedback. But I wanted to ask you, if you look back at the other 70 candidates who didn't make it, can you name maybe like two or three that come to mind that maybe deserved a little bit more?
Um, Definitely. There was one from Agoncillo, Batangas. Her name is Sheikha Kalapatia, if I'm not mistaken. I met her once. Tall, beautiful, has a face that could be a mix of Anne Hathaway and maybe like a Lebanese actress. So just based on beauty and height alone, I thought that she could have been a shoe-in for something further. I know a lot of people are pretty sore about Miss Capiz right now. She is Sherry Ann Flajoles, and I really feel bad that she did not make it because this is someone who has a great team. They have been tagging us. They have been very diligent in making sure that her marketing materials are in place. So I felt a little sad about her. And there was also one lady that I really liked. I wish I could have gotten to know more of her in the competition. Pamela Framel. I thought that she was really fresh with her short hair, happy, smiley disposition. So yeah, I thought that they could have spared like three spots for these ladies
Yes,
and
I
I don't
agree.
know, maybe remove some.
I agree with you. I love those. I remember particularly Pamela Framel. I was supposed to have an interview with her on Instagram as a live stream, and then we had like some like scheduling confusion because of our time zone. Like we didn't
I
get to,
know.
yes, and it just didn't happen afterwards. We were supposed to reschedule, but then everything got hectic. Like I was telling you on your channel, the interviews
Mhm.
really took a toll on me, so I was just like taking it easy. Um, but yes, there were like so many deserving candidates this year. And talking about that, what do you feel about the fan voting system that we have in place right now? Obviously, how we came up with this entire top 30, and there's gonna be more. Like it gets a little bit more complex, but so far from 100 to 30, how did you feel about the fan voting?
Okay. The fan voting per se is not something that I'm averse to because I understand this. For years, we have experienced fan voting, not just in the local pageant, but in the international pageant. I think seasoned pageant fans would remember how we campaigned aggressively for the likes of Joanna Eden in 2016 for supranational with Mobstar. That was, Luis, this is a crazy app that makes you vote for a candidate by swiping to the left or to the right. That by the end of the day, even if you go on Instagram, all of your, because of muscle memory, I mean, you would like swipe instead of like. I mean, that was how traumatizing that voting was for us, for Kat, when she competed at Miss World. So this is something we're familiar with. This was also introduced by Miss Universe, and then later on with Miss Grand International and Supranational, they introduced paid voting. Now, a lot of people knew that when it came to paid voting, it would be dominated by maybe the likes of the Philippines, who are just super supportive to the point of like throwing in money. And then later on, the likes of Indonesia as well as Thailand caught up with
Yeah.
the race to pay for something. Now, it's a little foreign here in the Philippines. We've had a degree of paying for votes, but this is mostly reserved for the really small town or school pageant. So bringing this to the national level, I knew that it sort of cheapened the brand for a lot of pageant fans because this is a practice um, for popularity in school. Like
Mhm.
when you have like a school pageant and the ones who win aren't actually the ones who look the prettiest, but the ones who are more popular. And it was introduced in the Philippines. And a lot of people raised their eyebrows because the likes of Kisses de Levine, who has maybe followers in the millions, could definitely pull a lot of money to the paid voting. Now, it's now more of a question of ethics
Mhm.
because they rolled this one out in the middle of the pandemic. Um, it is, of course, voluntary. It's not a requirement for you to shell out money to pay for your candidate or to vote for your candidate. So, in that way, the organization is pretty safe because this isn't um, forced anyway. And the organization, I may have some differences with them, but I definitely understand where they are going. They need to bring in funds. They had, they lost income with the ticket sales and they have to stage a production. They still have to give us a show. So I would definitely understand if they need funds to really pay for these things. And, voting is an easy channel to do that. It's just that they allowed celebrities to come over. So with those celebrities come a huge fan base and a huge money making potential. And I think people are sore by the fact that Miss Universe Philippines thought about it first. So it's a little sneaky, but it's pretty safe. I mean, they're still within bounds of like, collecting funds because there will be people gullible enough, to throw in money for their candidate. And it is fair game, unfortunately, because some people definitely have the funds to, support the candidate. So it does raise eyebrows because the bracket that they rolled out just kept on changing. At first, it was just 99 pesos, which is roughly an equivalent of maybe, no, like $2,
Yeah.
up until as high at one point as about $100. So if you think about the ethics of voting or the ethics of, throwing out money at this time, maybe it wasn't the best decision, because even if it's voluntary, it's like an item on a restaurant menu. It's up to you if you want to like order it, but
Do you want to
some
start?
people will definitely splurge, right? So I don't
Yes.
know. It really has something to do with whether you're gonna do it or not, but they made it available anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And I feel like this is really the reason why they had to come up with like kind of an explanation and say that this was not going to define necessarily the top 30. Like there will be some judging involved, because I felt the outrage in the very, in the first few hours of the announcement. People were really going in the comments. um, but let's not forget, guys, this is first and foremost a business, so they have to make, they have to make the numbers make sense, and they have to really be able to pay for all of the, the staff, the organization, whatever, all of all of the things that are involved in a business. um I do agree with you, and this is something that we were talking once again on your channel, and is that perhaps there should be a more clear, like it should be a little bit more transparent for future editions. Like I'm a little bit apologetic because this is like the first time. So for me, it's like, okay, maybe next year they can work on this and just be a little more transparent, since they've done it before, right? They had that experience. um but yeah, definitely, it was something. um
Uh,
Go
may
for it.
I add something as well? I think that it got a little crazy because they kept on explaining. So if it were me, in charge of maybe PR or communications, right? Less talk, less mistake. Is that the saying? I mean, I'm just saying that they should have made the rules clearer before voting, so that
Yeah.
they won't have to explain in a lengthy manner. They
Mhm.
should have made like an announcement. Because I think it got a little dirtier when they announced the winners via voting per challenge, and then they released another set of winners, this time the judge's choice. So my impression is, are you going to release another set of winners, this time with the combined decision of the votes and the judges? Or are you just showing us that the fans aren't exactly aligned with the judges and that you're using the popular girls to gain more money? Where are we with that? So,
Yeah.
yeah, they should have just come up with one announcement on who won based on the combined decision of the votes as well as the judges. So, but that's just me.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you mean, definitely. And there's someone here asking us. So Aaron is asking, judges should be shown or introduced. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I definitely agree, and I think they also did this very recently during the challenge for the interview challenge, because they did mention that for the interview challenge, they're not going to rely on the votes. So if you watch part one of the video, they
Yeah.
introduced the panel. So, but then again, of course, the panel are also members of the committee anyway, so no need to introduce. We kind of know who they are.
Yeah, exactly. But it's mostly in the sense, do you feel like it will be important for the audience to know it since the beginning? Who is going to be like behind the scenes and who is going to be doing all the judging? Or if it's really as the challenges are coming and then they just announce it on the spot? Because in my perception, right, I always try to think from the perspective of a candidate. When you're preparing for this type of, competition, you are not only investing so much of your time, of your effort, but you're also putting a lot of funds. Let's be realistic. This is expensive.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is.
I believe that if you know who will judge you, or like what to expect when it comes to like voting and the fans and like the percentages of how you're going to be judged, maybe that will give a like a better chance of preparing and have like a more realistic chance within the competition. Do you agree with
I
that?
I agree also. But at the same time, it kind of takes away the fun if you know who's judging you. I
Yeah.
mean, I would really rather prepare as a candidate competing against myself, not
Yes.
against the other ladies, because it's easy to adjust based on, oh, the judge is going to be from this province. So maybe that judge will favor that candidate from that province. I
Mhm.
would rather prepare as someone who's just hyper focused on myself instead of like adding more things to the table. Like, is she going to be favored because they have the same advocacy, or is she going to be favored because they're from the same city or area or industry? So um, for me, the judges should not be a basis on how I will prepare for the competition. For me, my basis is what is it that the organization is looking for? What is it that the fans are looking for? The fans should not be discarded in this decision because the fans ultimately will carry you to the top in terms of hyping you, in terms of getting your name out there and getting your name part of the roster of top picks from like vloggers and admins from all over the world. I know it doesn't have any bearing, but when you see your name there, you kind of get a gauge of where you are in the competition. So
Mhm.
fans, yeah, fans are really very important as well. Not directly involved, but important.
Yes, absolutely. One of the questions that I see that keep coming in the chat is, what about independent candidates versus candidates who are endorsed by a camp? What's your
Um,
perception of that?
okay, so in the Philippines, we have two dominant camps, aces and queens, who have produced a number of illustrious beauty queens, and Kagandahan Flores, who have also produced a number of illustrious beauty queens, um, and have opened their doors to training foreign candidates as well.
Mhm.
Back in the day, it was believed that if you're not part of these two camps, you will not to succeed in the competition. This was definitely smashed Catriona Gray, who went away camps altogether and established herself as an independent candidate, handpicking people who will help her in her competition, whether they're her friends or like people in the industry who she knows can contribute to her journey. So right after Kat, a lot of other girls went into the independent direction without realizing that when you go independent, you have a different set of challenges there because there are people, Luis, who may know what they're talking about, who
Mhm.
may have a vision in their head, but does not have the technical skills to teach them.
Yeah.
So being independent, yes, gives you independence, but does it give you structure the same way camps can give you structure, the same way camps can give you a more aligned management when it comes to preparing for your competition? So you just really have to stay true to yourself. Are you going for something that's more structured,
Mhm.
something that's more established, but an arrangement that may not be solely focused on you? Because
Yeah.
you have to understand, this is like a stable, right? This is like a team. If you're going into sports, they have set team players, so the focus is not just on one person. They have to be focused on the others. Well, as if you're independent, you get to have your ideas out there. The problem with independent candidates is that sometimes their ideas aren't challenged because they are surrounded by people who only support them, who only say good things about them. So I guess it really has something to do with finding what fits you, finding what feels right for you. Because if you don't do it correctly the first time around and you still have some time, you're an independent candidate. Just like Hannah Arnold, now she's with Aces and Queens because now it works for her. But
Yeah.
if you're like Catriona, wherein the camps did not work for her and it was better for her to go independent, then yeah, go for it. So you just have to really listen. Are you lacking in something that the two arrangements could like
Mhm.
provide for you? So
Yeah.
it's really up to you to figure it out.
I always wondered how to proceed once again, if I put myself in the shoes of a candidate, how would I proceed if I'm with a camp and I feel like they're not like pushing me or presenting me to the best of my ability? Like, because I feel like sometimes as a few candidates, and I'm not necessarily talking about this year's edition, but just in general, that sometimes some candidates have a lot more potential, but they might not be as hyped as other candidates, or they might not be as pushed. So how would you handle this type of things if you were on the shoes of one of these beauty queens?
Let me tell you something because I did encounter a beauty queen who felt that way, who felt that she wasn't given the spotlight or the same exact treatment.
Hmm.
So I said, it's a little difficult for you to move around now because she was in the middle of a competition. And her main issue was that she was not being hyped. And I was saying, control whatever it is that you can hold on to. Hype is something that you can do for yourself by being more vocal, by being more interactive on social media. This is something that you can create. This is something that you can foster. Be friendly with the admins, interact with your fans. I mean, do things that you know you have control of, because if you're under a camp and you feel like you're not given the same attention or the same importance, you can't do anything about that anymore.
Yeah.
It's really because people connect with people that they know they have a connection with, right? So
Hmm.
if you're someone that even from the start they're not really warming up to you, it means that it's gonna be that way, unfortunately, for the duration of your competition. So if you feel like you're not gaining support, sympathy, and attention within your group, get out of it. I mean, do something that will make the journey worthwhile for you instead of fighting in a competition wherein you're down and you know you feel heavy just because you're not getting all of that accolades from the others. Lift yourself up and try to attack the competition as if it really doesn't matter. Yes, they're not giving you like the best clothes, but own it. I mean, the clothes are on you. Might as well work it. So it is fortunately a harsh reality. And it's not just in the beauty pageant setting. It's a setting that can be seen even in the workplace, even in school.
Yeah.
So you just have to apply the same principles on how you were able to survive those years in school. You weren't granted any favors. It's most likely because you did the work on your own.
I love that. You heard it from Tita. She is delivering facts today.
It's not
There
just
was a question
me,
that I really
guys.
liked in the chat here. I think Fidel was asking, okay,
Oh, Fidel. Hi, Fidel.
Fidel is in the house. So Tita,
Fidel!
what's your take about getting Pia and Catriona as judge should be? Do you think that, let's say, like reigning beauty queens or legendary beauty queens at this point, because these two are just iconic within the Philippines, but even internationally, do you think that they will be good judges or at
Of
least good options?
course.
Hmm.
Of course. I mean, if we look at it from the financial point of view, these are absolute money makers. If you add them to any judging panel, it raises the prestige, right? But at the same time, I understand how difficult it was for Pia to judge in a competition when you have a Philippine representative. Because I remember the time that Rachel did not make it further in 2017, and all of the hate was directed towards Pia, and Pia was just one fifth of the vote at that time. So I understand the prestige. I also understand that they could offer more in terms of judging because they've done that. And being Miss Universe winners, they definitely understand what the local organization is looking for and what the international organization is looking for. So it's good to have them on board because that keeps everyone on their toes. The production people are on their toes, the organization is on their toes, because if these personalities say something about the organization that isn't so favorable, people will listen.
Yeah.
That's why there were talks on like how Rabia was chosen and how there was a lot of drama backstage when Rabia won, and the likes of MJ Lastimosa walking out, Shamsi Sup Sup crying, and Janine Tugonon getting really upset because of I don't know what happened from the inside. So these are the things that make people talk. And with the presence of beauty queens such as Pia and Catriona as part of the judging panel, I mean, it's like having a principal in the house. Like everybody has to stand up straight and be at their best. So if you have personalities who could bring out the best, the competitive best of the candidates as well as the production people, then yeah, go for it.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much, Fidel, for the question. That was a very good one. And
Yeah, people.
yes, I love it. I wanted to ask you now. So this is kind of a particular year because we don't have a lot of time. The
Yeah.
international pageant is coming like just a few months after the actual coronation in the Philippines. So I feel like this might not be the year to maybe go for a new candidate unless that candidate is ready like right now. Like even though they're new, like they have everything that it takes, we are confident, there's no room for doubt. um what do you think are some of the main things that we need to look for in this batch of girls that we have right now? Because obviously we have so much potential, but we have to remember that there's only a few months until the international version. So what would you look if you were in the position of a member of the organization or even like the panel of judges? What is it that you would pick?
We talked about this earlier in my show, and right now the pageant fans have no time for a Cinderella story transformation. I
Mhm.
mean, the pageant fans right now will have no mercy if the candidate ends up being overhauled surgically, because we know that surgical overhaul or enhancement takes up more time. So they want someone right now who is physically ready, who could go head to head, because we are seeing some of the ladies who will be competing at Miss Universe. Miss Paraguay, for example, is just so stunning. Janik Maceta, stunning. And a lot of people are creating a buzz around her because right now she's pretty much the one to beat.
Yeah.
If we're just going to look at it solely, physically. So I think what the pageant fans are expecting for the Philippine representation now is someone who could go head to head physically. That's why they are super sore with the possibility of a representation of someone more petite. I mean, I know we're trying to be more inclusive, we're trying to soften the blow for everyone, but at the end of the day, they will expect someone who could go head to head physically, height wise, communication skills wise, pasarela wise, as well as, all other aspects of being that beauty queen who could go head to head with, the likes of the statuesque girls at Miss Universe. Because, Luis, we have to weed the dreamers from the actual doers, because fulfilling your dream is one thing, fulfilling your dream, putting in the work and looking the part is another.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. So I'll drop a few names, and
Mhm.
I want you to give me your opinion about them in just a few words, just to make it
Sure.
fun, and spicy for the fans. So,
With the
Steph.
whole shoulder shaking. Why did I shake my shoulder?
So, if I mention Steffi Aberasuri, what comes to mind?
Bubbly. I mean, fun. Someone I'd love to be friends with, someone I'd love to curl my hair and lashes with. But more than that, I also feel that Steffi has that innate personality that will make you gravitate towards her.
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, there is another facet of her, because Steffi is someone who loves pageantry. She did not stumble upon pageantry just because a lot of people are pulling her left and right to go into pageants. Otherwise, she would have just joined maybe one or two pageants and be done with it. But she's been doing this for so many years, it means that she has been preparing for this moment. It's difficult, Louise, if you have a candidate that you just coerced into joining just because they are the noun and the verb, like they look the part. It's another when you have a candidate who just really patterns her life towards a goal of competing at the nationals. So that's Steffi for me.
Okay, very nice. Maureen Bravovitz.
Maureen was someone unexpected for me. I did not think that she would really go into pageantry because I feel like when you're someone from modeling, there is a little bit of a disconnect between modeling and pageantry. Like, I do know that some of the girls from modeling transition into pageantry flawlessly because they already have the height and the beauty, anyways. But getting into the mindset of being in a beauty pageant, it's a little different from being stoic in
Yeah.
fashion and just being a blank canvas. In pageantry, you have to inject more of your personality, and it's like being a beautiful politician. You have to talk to people you don't know or don't necessarily like. You have to mingle with people you don't know or you don't necessarily like. And at first, I did not realize that Maureen had that in her, that she would go into something more conversational or bubbly because she does have that demeanor. And we saw that when we followed her in Asia's Next Top Model. She was heavily bullied in that reality show. It could be real, it could be staged, but we got a glimpse of who Maureen was. And we didn't think that that type of personality would hold in a beauty pageant. And so far, she's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, she's one of the girls who is showing a lot of personality as well. So
I
it's
know. And it's not,
on
yeah.
the
And the personality in question is not the hi, hello, I'm Maureen. It's not the personality. It's a different personality that we didn't think we needed, right?
Mhm. Exactly. Very refreshing.
Yeah.
Says the Lavin.
Kisses de Lavine. Ah, poor girl. She's getting things left and right just because she's not the standard, just because she's not the mold, and just because celebrities are looked down upon when they join pageants like this. But I feel like this is definitely going to strengthen her. Now, there is one aspect of Kisses that I want to bring to the table because it caused a number of like discussions on our Instagram page. And this is something about being active or not so active on social media. Kisses, I think, isn't very active in using social media to promote herself. And she did mention in an interview that it's because she doesn't want to offend people, or she doesn't want people to really see that whatever she posts out there isn't unbalanced, because of course one photo could garner like, millions or thousands of likes. I understand her in that. And but I just feel like it's a little privileged also to rely on your fan base to do the work for you, especially now that you're in Miss Universe Philippines. People expect you to be on the even playing field. Like, you're not a celebrity now that you're in top 30. So what I'm just saying is that the types of Catriona, let's say, who was almost reaching like a million subscribers back when she competed, Catriona, who is already super duper famous locally as a pageant girl, had to put in the work, held onto her social media accounts, really made sure that she scheduled her post. And again, a lot of people from Kiss's side argued that, we can do the work for her anyway. It's not that. We want our queens hardworking. We want our queens, at least on the pageant side, to take hold of what they can control. And posting advocacies and causes is not gonna offend us. I mean, it's gonna show us that you're sincere in what you're doing. So
Mhm.
it's not about posting just the pretty pictures, but we want to get to know you. And unfortunately, the fan base is not there to tell us a story of who you are. You're the best storyteller of who you are.
Yeah, I agree. Um, One of the girls that has created a lot of conversation is Victoria as well. And
Mhm.
by the way, everyone, if you see that I'm not really commenting on this, is because we had a live stream. A lot of people joined us. We had a live stream earlier prior to this one on Tita's channel where I was the one like talking and giving a lot of opinions. So
We're working hard for the money here.
yes, so please go ahead and after this one, go out to Tita's channel and you can check our live stream there as well if you want to hear my take on some of these questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Victoria, what do you think about her?
I was a little nervous with Victoria at first because she was one of the favorites before the competition even started. We knew very little about her. I was lucky enough to interview her because right after I interviewed her, I think the organization caught on and rolled out this mandate that I am no longer allowed to interview the Miss Universe girls, which is fine because you're there anyway. Lived vicariously through you with your interviews. But what I'm just saying is that I was pretty lucky I got Victoria because I was really interested not by her pageant journey, if I'm being very honest with you, because I am a history enthusiast, an architecture enthusiast, and I was really interested with her conservation work, especially when it has something to do with conserving communities and historical sites here in the Philippines. That was primarily my reason why I wanted to get to know her.
Mhm.
So when she was doing very well with at least the physical aspects of the competition, I felt that this was someone that we could really maybe give a little bit of more time, because like what I said earlier, we are looking for someone polished enough to send to the international competition, but that doesn't mean that we don't have time to polish or train. So maybe if Victoria isn't the perfect representation, she's the one that we could spend a little more time with, because there is a little bit of time to do these preps and to do a work that could possibly transform a candidate. And maybe Victoria is lacking in a lot of things, but not substantially a lot that
Mm.
she's no longer a shoe in. So yeah, I'm willing to allot a little bit of time if they pick Victoria as the winner.
Yes, very nice. Some of the people are coming from me in the comments saying that I didn't comment that much on your channel. Guys, I feel like whatever I said on her channel, on Tita's channel, it's just like a concise version of my opinion. But honestly, um, the candidates have a lot of potential. They have a lot of, each one of them, especially like the fan favorites so far, they're very
Mm,
different. And this is what is exciting about this pageant is that you don't know what's gonna happen because each girl is like has like their own thing going on, and I don't know, but yes, I will extend on this later on. But obviously, we have to keep things concise. I have one last name for you, Tita.
mm.
Katrina Di Maranan. What do you feel?
Ooh,
What do you feel about Katrina?
a few things really, because I Katrina is considered as the one to beat in this competition. She's
Mhm.
statuesque, brown skin. She's relevant in their conversation of inclusivity these days. Empowered. You can hear her speak when she speaks. She has the tendency to be intimidating and a little bit more familiar. I remember commenting on her interview challenge video. I said it seemed like she had a concoction of a cocktail of Milo and Red Bull and maybe several glasses of wine. She was a little over the top, and she has a tendency to go to that direction because she definitely is larger than life. But
Mhm.
at the same time, if you strip off all of that experience in Hollywood, because this is someone seasoned, she has been a host. She appeared in several reality shows, so she does have that vibe, right? And
Mhm.
maybe um, it doesn't sit well with a lot of pageant fans when you're that exposed, when you're that seasoned. So maybe if Katrina could go back to basics and remember what endeared her to the pageant fans when she was just starting. She was a product of Binibining Pilipinas back in the day, and then we sent her to supranational, but this time she was carrying the USA sash. So carrying the USA sash as well, some folks aren't so keen on it because of the nationalistic thing we have going on. So as long as Katrina is true to her core
Yeah.
and is not blinded with all the additions of styling, with all that image making factory, if she just presents herself as Katrina, a possible Philippine representative, then I think she's good to go. I think she just has to go back to her roots and just strip off, everything that is just embellishing her beauty.
Yes, absolutely. I will comment on this one because this is no secret that Katrina is my number one pick. I said this on your
Yeah.
channel, and I've been very vocal about it through my
Yes, yes,
social media as
yes.
well.
Wait
In
lang.
my yeah, in
Wait lang. Did I just say wait lang?
my wait lang.
Wait lang. Wait lang, Luis. I love you, but I'm going to look for my wire. I unfortunately can't see it, so let's hustle.
Okay,
Push.
okay. Push. So in my opinion, Katrina is the one to beat because of several things, and I just like you explained, I feel like you were very good at putting that out there. First of all, Katrina has a lot of national but international experience as well. And what I always think of is what we were saying earlier, that there's not a lot of time to prepare until December, when the international pageant will be there. And you need someone that already has the skills and that is able to deliver when it comes to personality, when it comes to authenticity, that is able to deliver on the technique side of things, but that will also be able to deal with the pressure of the crown and the international audience looking on you. So this is definitely a big thing. And one of the reasons why people sometimes give pushback to Katrina is because she did represent the U.S. in Miss Supranational, just like you said. But earlier on, something that we were discussing was that sometimes when girls from other countries come and represent the Philippines, we are inclusive, we are accepting of these things. But why wouldn't we accept when a Filipina goes and represents another country? She still have Filipino blood. She's still true to her, to her culture. She speaks Tagalog. She goes back to the Philippines. She helps her family. So definitely, I feel like there's a lot of credit that we need to give her when it comes to that. And yeah, I don't want to like elaborate too much because the bias.
You're gonna get in trouble. They're gonna go for you. They're gonna go for the kill.
I mean,
But that's what we're here for,
yes,
right? I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat things. I don't want to bring people down for the sake of bringing people down. But I mean, I know that this audience want cariño brutal. I mean, sometimes they watch us because they want to say or they want to listen to things that the others don't have the cojones to say. So, yeah.
yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, there are a few candidates that if they get the crown, my heart will be happy with it. Like it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
like it's Katrina or nothing, right? I believe that
Yeah.
she embodies what it's needed right now, but there are a lot of candidates with a lot of potential that I'm rooting for. If I put you on the spot once again, Tita, and I tell you, you don't have to elaborate too much.
Sure.
Just tell me
Mhm.
if there was one of the veterans, right, who was to get the crown, who would it be?
One of the veterans from this competition with the top 30,
Yes,
give it to Katrina. Give it
Katrina.
to Katrina. Yeah, give it to
Give it to her.
Katrina.
Katrina, you
You,
take the crown. Okay.
you take
Now,
it. Take it, girl.
it was one of the new girls, like one of the fresh faces in the competition. Who would it be?
Ugh. Honestly, would love to get Steffi on board, really, because we waited for her. And I cannot wait for the whole world to see the Philippines in Steffi. Because for me, the Philippines is Steffi. It's more fun in the Philippines. And for me, she is the embodiment of a fun Filipina. But at
Yeah,
the same time, if you want a facet of the Philippines that gives you class and elegance and something that's worldly with finesse, go ahead and give it to Victoria. I
mm,
mean, I cannot choose just one, but yeah, Victoria or Steffi for me. These are my three favorites in the competition so far.
absolutely. Okay. That's a very good. Those are very good picks and very
Mhm.
good explained as well and justified. So I hope that the audience is happy. Obviously, not everyone will be happy, but it is what it is.
It's life.
Yes, it's live.
Yes.
Because, more and more often we're getting a lot of attention on the pageant, especially in the Philippines. And something that we were talking on your channel was about Pinoy baiting and the
Kita ini.
culture that is developing. And there are quite a few international vloggers at this point who are paying a lot of attention to the pageants, myself included. So, what is your perspective as someone who is doing it from within the country, who is a Filipina, and who, let's say, who has like a very national fan base? Because you are followed and respected by Filipinos. How do you feel sometimes about some of the outsiders coming in and trying to dominate?
Okay. I'm very specific when it comes to that. I mean, I understand that Filipinos found a way to tap into um, an income generating platform, right?
Mhm.
And we have so many ways of doing this in pageantry. I could be someone like me who does a lot of analysis, could be someone like the others who does a lot of interviews, could be someone who is pretty good when it comes to editing videos. What I'm just saying is that I honestly give premium to content creators who really do their research, who's not there to just chase the money. Because if you get approved for monetization in YouTube, it doesn't matter whether you get lesser views this month or the next month. As long as your views reach the threshold of $100, you're sure of an income. So, what
Mhm.
I'm just saying is that we have a pretty good gauge of those who are just running after the income and those who are really trying to build a solid following. I mean, for example, my my situation when I started, I thought that making money out of YouTube was a myth. I did not realize that when you do the necessary steps,
Yeah.
you're actually guaranteed of a chance to make some money out of this. So when I was doing my YouTube contents, it wasn't really to chase after the money. It was to build something just in case I get approved of these things.
Yeah.
Then I know something sustainable going on. So um, I would really appreciate it if our pageant fans that turn into pageant content creators, let's say on YouTube, I would really appreciate it if they put in the work. They may not be 100% accurate. They may not get the mix of emotions as well as the pitch, because sometimes that's irritating when you
Yeah.
have like a blogger who's like super enthusiastic when you know that it's not exactly how they feel about it. It's just that it's their way of presenting themselves to hook in more viewers. So just calm down, do your research, and let your mind do the work and how you would balance your analogy and also how to balance or pick the right words so as not to offend people, because this is now a business of offending less people as possible.
Yes, yes. From my perspective, being one of the outsiders, who obviously is getting a lot of audience from the Philippines and a lot of attention as well, what I would say is that for me, there's always it's always a matter of respect as well. You cannot just come, take over, and pretend like you are the know it all, been there, done that. I always describe myself as a guest, right? I'm a guest. So I try to learn, I try to inform myself, and I try to stay open to new things, and because I'm not perfect, sometimes people might come and tell me, oh, you're doing this is not good, or you are saying that is not good. And it's always about not be defensive, be receptive of what people are telling you, work on
True.
those things, right?
True. That's why, I mess up. Honestly, my followers know this. I mess up on dates.
Yeah.
Only because I think because I don't really sleep within the normal sleeping patterns. I mix up the dates I mix up numbers. So I think it's really a matter of putting it out there yourself. Like,
Hmm?
I know what my strengths are. I know I'm not good at certain things. So it has to be interactive. I mean, you guys, you have to inform me. You have to let me know if I'm messing up the dates or I'm messing up the schedules. I'm gonna let the other vloggers do the right thing for you, but don't expect that from me. So, you just have to be very honest with what you can or cannot do.
Exactly. No, it's important, and people for to correct us, and especially from for outsiders, when we are talking about things that are so important in the Philippines, it's important that we are informed and that we know that where we're coming from.
Fact check,
Um,
yes.
yeah, fact check. Also, something that I would like to see a little bit more, it's more collaboration. For example, what we're doing now, right? I would like that at some point, if there are people who are going to be making videos, that there's a little bit more of a cordial, like thing between vloggers. I don't know if this
I have
is
a question for you. I have a
yes.
question for you on that. I never got to ask you because
Yes.
I saw it in my comment section. You're talking about collaborations now. And to be honest, I don't have a lot of vloggers on my channel. I have two friends who alternate for like the season. Jason Cappuccino of Sashes and Scripts. I want to say hi. And Adam Henato of K Adam G. So these are the folks that I also work with in pageant media in the Philippines. And we have a dynamic. Sometimes we hate each other, sometimes we like each other, we're friends. But at the end of the day, it's like the only two people that I talk with in terms of collaborating.
Yeah.
You are my first foreign collaboration. And um, I, how shall I put this? You had a guesting once with another set of bloggers or like a vlogger. How do you feel? Because in my case, there have been situations where I was asked to be a guest, but maybe also to boost the channel and the views of the
Mhm.
new channel. So it did not get to cross the threshold of me feeling I was used and abused, but there was one incident where it was going into that direction because they weren't very transparent where I was going to be a guest at.
Okay.
So, what about you? You seem to be into the collaboration part of this business.
Mhm.
How do you feel when you get into a situation where you're kind of being used?
Well, if I'm being quite honest, Sita, to a certain extent, for as long as it's not like clearly like I'm just being used for like views or clicks or anything, I'm okay with it because I'm also getting something out of it, right?
Right.
For example, when I collaborate with other people, I get exposed to a new audience, but I also sometimes get to meet candidates, get to do things that otherwise I would have to do on my own. Because when you look at my channel, the thing, I'm sure, like just like you and like other bloggers as well, I am self-made. I did not like have a master plan of like I'm gonna become this person. And my channel blew up at a point. It was like
Pretty
insane,
fast, no? It
pretty
was
fast.
pretty fast for you. Yeah.
Like in a matter of a month, my subscribers counts doubled. And
Mhm.
so it was like brand new for me, and I don't have this mentality of I'm like this big blogger, whatever. Like I like to be done with the people, I like to be with the crowd, I like to be where the action is. And if I'm going to meet a candidate, if I'm going to get to meet maybe like another blogger, if I'm going to create a network, I'm there. If you get views from it, good for you. And that's my mentality. I don't see YouTube as a money making business. And obviously there is income that is involved in YouTube, but I always tell my audience, look, I have an a 40
You have
hours.
another job, right?
I have a job. I have a full-time job. I
Job, yeah.
work for a bank. YouTube is kind of like on the side for me. And I
Yeah. That's also what I say. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
this is something that they forget. I mean, a lot of people forget that this isn't our day job,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
we have other things.
It's
We're
it's such
just really hard work. fucking chess.
Yes, it. I mean, as we should, especially because if you're gonna be in this, in this industry and doing this type of videos, you have to put in the work. It's a lot of responsibility. Um, but yeah, I just wish that there was a little bit more of that, of collaboration, a little bit more of respect, a little bit more of doing research and putting the hard work. And I believe that, in my opinion, that's what sometimes might make a difference between someone who is just like Pinoy baiting and someone who is just making videos. Because you can start making videos tomorrow about the United States if you want, and just
Exactly.
concentrate on that and nothing but that. Are you American baiting? I mean, if you are working hard for it, if you are putting, trying your best, you're just making videos. It's not illegal. And I believe it's the same for a lot of people who are making videos about the Philippines. But when there is no added value, that's when it becomes problematic. And also, you are creating a platform, people are uplifting you and giving you this visible position. Give something back to the people, and it doesn't have to be monetary. You can collaborate. You can, for example, my way of giving back at first was like with the interviews, because if you do this, that sometimes there are certain type of videos that bring more revenue than interviews normally don't get as many views, so they're
They don't.
don't. So
Unless you hit the jackpot really, and yeah.
exactly,
I mean, that's the goal, right? To have like the big name on your channel, but
exactly.
it's not easy, guys.
Not
It's
easy.
not easy.
It's a hustle. But anyways, I'm sure that everyone has their opinion. This is just like a conversation, open conversation. But yes, and to, 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 just want to make sure you guys, I'm heading towards a few questions that I prepare for Tita, which is just like a fun game for the end. But if you guys have any questions that you really want to ask, now is the time to put them in the chat. I will go
Wait,
in like,
I will cut you. Let me get that wire now. Wait,
get it, Tita.
get it. Wait, where's that wire?
Is this gonna be a channel
Wire!
like I took over yours?
I found it. OMG.
OMG.
Ito na.
Perfect. Okay, so I see a lot of people who really want to know your opinion
I'm
about
ready
Mary.
for my close-up.
She's ready.
And we are saved.
Yes.
3% OMG.
Oh my God, Tita. Okay, so a lot of people
Yes.
are asking, they really want to know how you feel about Laren before we get into the last part of the conversation. So
Oh,
tell us,
yeah.
Laren
Okay.
Bautista.
Laren May Bautista. I know I did not mention her earlier, but like what I've been telling, the competition is for me just placed around six ladies anyway, give or take. Um, Laren is one of the heavy favorites of the competition. She is tried and tested. I know she did not exactly do as well in the interview challenge in the interview challenge, but that doesn't mean she's not going to be a good representative if we send her internationally. Like what I said, this is someone who already has a considerable amount of training. She looks the part. She's tall as well. She's someone that could go head to head with the other ladies in the competition because she has done this in the past. She won an international competition in 2015. We sent her to Miss Globe and she finished wonderfully. So I'm just saying that for me, Laren is giving this as a last push. Is this going to be more difficult for her than it was for her in the past? Yes, most definitely. So the expectations on Laren this time is definitely a lot higher. She cannot afford to lose a challenge like an interview challenge because she already ticks the boxes. So if she's going to give people doubts with her communication skills, she has to work on this as early as now. to convince us because we don't know. Maybe by the time she competes at the finals and she gets a jackpot question and she answers that flawlessly, I mean, who are we to say that she's no longer
Mhm,
a shoe in for the crown just because of her not so stellar performance at the interview challenge? So
mhm.
there are still chances for Laren to prove her worth in the competition.
Yes. Okay. Very nice. And fair enough. I agree with everything that you said. So that was actually something that I was gonna add in there. Like, how do you feel about her communication skills? But you said it perfectly. So good, good, good. All right, everyone. So we are going to get into the last segment of our video today, and it's just a few fun questions that me and a friend prepared for you. So
OMG.
OMG. But this one's
OMG.
to tell us the first thing that comes to mind. No need to explain whatsoever. And
Mm.
it's just fun questions. Don't worry, there's nothing controversial.
Is my mother gonna watch this, Chas?
So, okay. So, can you name one pageant blogger that you watch?
You, Luis Portales.
A word! Who is your favorite Miss Universe?
Oh, I would say, you know what? Porntip Nakiran Kanok of 1988.
Very nice.
Why? I mean, I know I don't have to expound on this, but very briefly, she inspired me to really learn English the way, because back in the day, I watched a lot of Sesame Street, and when I watched her compete, I was 7 at that time when she competed, and her question was about learning English from Big Bird, and that was like a light bulb moment for me.
Oh,
So, yeah.
very nice. Um, hmm, Catriona or Pia?
Ooh, love them both. I'm gonna go with Pia only because the Pia journey was just so hard and emotional, and I'm friends with both. I'm just closer to Pia. Pia has given us a lot, physical things as well as like other things that are entailed with friendship. But
Yeah,
yeah, just for the interaction, Pia.
fair enough. So, who is your pick for the strongest dark horse in this year's edition of Miss Universe Philippines?
Ooh, going for Corinne Abalos this time. Go, wild horse. I call her a wild horse this time.
Can you express without words, so without words, your first reaction to Eliza Malinau's pregnancy? In your opinion, you have to complete the sentence. Rabia Mateo will be remembered as
The Miss Universe Philippines winner who had to take in a lot, who had to overcome more than what she's supposed to handle.
true. I agree with that. Um, who is your Miss Photogenic in this batch of Miss Universe Philippines?
Photogenic. Ooh, photogenic, 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 photogenic. I am going to go with Steffi. I
Steffi.
like Steffi.
She's
I
a good.
like, yeah, nice bone structure as well. And whenever I say nice bone structure, I usually go for bone structure that's super out there, cheekbones, jawline, things like that. But with Steffi, it's a mix of all those bones and all those round features. So
Mhm.
that's very Filipino for me.
Nice. Have you ever protected a beauty queen even though you had enough information for a blind item or an article?
Love that. Of course. Of course. More recently, one of the, revered beauty queens got herself into like the chit chat of everybody. One of my friends even did like a full blind item like feature on her, and I was definitely caught in the middle. Definitely caught in the middle. But
Oh,
I just want to share. if you want to be a pageant vlogger, try to avoid discussing anything that's personal. I
Yeah.
don't care if that's even not part of your moral upbringing, but leave that to the entertainment pages. If you
Yes.
want to get into the pageantry and the ethics of pageantry, just move within how things are processed in pageantry and
Mhm.
not because they've had boyfriends or they've had like illicit affairs and things like that. That's not for us to discuss. That's for the pageant. That's for the entertainment pages to discuss.
I agree. It's hard sometimes because we get attached to some of these girls. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been friends with a few of them, and I'm like, sometimes when I have to come with my topics, I'm like, ah.
See, that's why I don't do that. When it comes to topics, I that's why it was pretty nice. When we started our page at Titas of Pageantry, our rules were very clear cut. We do this, we're very friendly, and sometimes we get to lose connections with, or we sever ties with other people or other candidates, but we just have to stay true to our core. If we say something like we're not going to feature that, we're not going to feature that. If you're the most popular candidate and if your photo isn't at par with maybe our aesthetics, I mean, I'm not gonna kiss your behind and post you. So
Yeah.
freedom for us is still important.
Freedom, she said.
Yes.
Do you think that Israel is a good choice to host Miss Universe?
Yeah, sure, push for it. I mean, guys, do you have any other places that you can think of? I mean, I am sure Miss Universe organization thought about this. They understand the consequence that maybe not all of the countries who signed up for Miss Universe will make it to Israel. So I'm just saying, it's a little different this time. We want to push through with the pageant. So we have to just go with the decision of the organization because I'm pretty sure they did some research. Hosting a pageant isn't cheap.
Yes.
So if they chose Israel, they must have a really good reason for choosing Israel. So
The
sorry
number,
for the other countries next time. See you.
there will be other editions. They can
Yeah.
have other ones. So,
Yeah.
which local pageant in the Philippines is best run?
For me, Binibining Pilipinas still. I am loyal to the brand. And maybe because we've had a love-hate relationship with Binibining Pilipinas. Right now, we hold on to Binibining Pilipinas as something nostalgic, something that we have to be careful with, something that we treasure. But there was a point, like, rebellious teenagers in the past. We've had our differences with Binibining Pilipinas since they're very old school. So I think even in other aspects of our lives, we need certain organizations and establishments to remain firm while all else change
Yes.
because we have to at least set some standards and Binibining Pilipinas has been pretty good at upholding standards.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
A little
Um,
slow, but yeah,
it's getting there.
getting there.
Who is most ready to go to Miss Universe as of today? Steffi, Katrina, or Victoria?
I think we can agree Katrina is ready to go because you know what, Steffi could be ready to go. It's just that we haven't really seen Steffi in this environment. So if it has something to do with gambling, I'm going to be a little reserved in putting all my money on Steffi because what if she ends up as a fluke, right?
Hmm?
So I've really yet to see her perform. Well, as of Katrina, we've seen how far she could go. So right now it's Katrina based on experience, really.
Absolutely. And the very
Mm.
last question, and the most important. Are you
Patay tayo dyan.
Will there be more collaborations between you and me?
Of course, my gosh. There's December. But you
Mm,
know what? We will most likely see each other not till January because now will be a great time for us to really test our editing skills, our time management skills, and our skills to stay focused and stay pressed. So definitely more collaborations for us. I think that we can have like a tradition of doing this like before or after a major event. So I'm
Uh,
up for that.
that will be fun. That will be so
Yeah,
much fun. Tita,
yeah.
thank you so much for coming to my channel, for being here. You know, I've said this every single time that I have the opportunity. I said this. I love you. I respect you. I look up to you, and I'm so thankful for all the love and support that you have shown me since the beginning, when no one even knew who I was, or even give me even a chance. You were always like a supportive figure, and I always want to put that out there. It's been such a pleasure to have you here with me, and I'm sure that my audience also appreciates you so much. It shows in the comment. Everyone loves you. And please, watching us, go and subscribe to Tita. Go and watch the live stream that we did on her channel. It was a lot of fun, you guys. So don't miss out on that. And yes, what do you want to tell the audience? Now you are the beauty queen. What do you want them to remember from you?
Luis explained himself in my channel, so go ahead and check on that.
Yes.
Um, yes. Well, first of all, thank you. I mean, it's not often that you get to have like a multiple guestings with one YouTuber or one show. So I'm really very appreciative of the fact that you asked me to come along. I mean, you have had a string of high profile guests, beauty queens as well, and to be in that roster, why not? So thank you so much for listening, also for having me on board. And even if I say so many things, I seem to have more things to say. So thank you for giving me a platform. And for those of you who are watching, um, one of the reasons why I became a YouTube content creator or blogger is because I want pageantry presented to you as if you're part of it. I want you guys to be in the know. I know I have a reputation for delivering chismes or gossip and things like that, but honestly, this is just to keep you in the loop. Just so when you battle it out in the comment section, you have information that you know on your own, so that you're not just like saying nasty things to each other just because you can say nasty things to each other and you're hidden by your fake accounts. I want you guys to have the ammunition to say something because you learned something from our vlog. So keep it up. We will be very busy in the next few days. And the conversation on voting, the reason why this is something that people are talking about is because people are now more informed. People now have the capacity to think whether this is the way to go or this is just because of business. There is now a discussion because of the things that we do. So yes, this is a great community. It can be toxic, but you can control its toxicity. You
Yes.
can take it constructively, you can read, you can choose not to read. So this is something that you can control, guys. If you want to watch something, go watch something. If you don't want to watch something and you feel like you're going to be irritated, spare yourselves.
Yes, exactly. I love that. Thank you so much once again. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, like,
You
there are
guys.
500 people here with us. So thank you so much. And stay safe, take care. I will see you very soon with other videos. And go and check out the Tita Lavinia channel. Subscribe, support, like, comment, send her love. Tell her in the comment section that you came from this video. And
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. This has been super productive for both of us. I know it's super late for you. It's not quite so early for me here, but I like that, we can go on with our pageant lives, but that we are able to devote this one day to do our thing and just get it over with.
of course, of course. Take care, Tita. Sending you the biggest kiss, the biggest hug. I love you, and I'll see you soon, okay?
Gracias. Besos.
Besos. Mwah.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.